This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hey there, it's Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more. And if we are live and if it's Tuesday, obviously always give to your favorite charities, donate to those causes, donate to the arts, authors, librarians, museums, the toy industry, which is getting hit hard. Oh my God, they canceled Toy Fest for next year because they can't afford the tariffs. Because guess what? Every toy is made in China. After 61 years, the #2 Toy Fest, toy convention, has canceled the convention. That's really, really sad. So here we are streaming. It's 158 live shows in a row. Season 5, show number 32, streaming on over 100 outlets around the world right now. K4HD Radio, Talk4 Media, Talk4 TV, and streaming on over 100 platforms, including iTunes 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee. So the fun, this one's going to be fun. Because this woman, Marcy B, she's always bothering me. No, I'm only kidding. But it's one of those things where it was fun to meet her. I'm intrigued by her romance novels. So when you're that best-selling author, you won that Literary Titan Award. I don't even know what that is, what she's going to tell me, but I know it's something good because I've seen the label for it. I know it's important, and congratulations on that. But I think of her books, and I've not even read them yet. Sell It, Don't Smell It. They remind me of James Patterson's romance novels. All those romance novels that you see at the airport, what every woman would buy, that's what her books remind me of. The packaging looks like it. It's enticing to me. It's full of deceptions and consequences. I'm sure I should be seduced, and obviously have revenge there too. What else can I say? I'm sure I'll have some nightmares and premonitions. And what else? Let's see. The last one, Secrets and Infidelity. You can't forget anything like that, right? So,
right.
Yeah. So Marcy B, welcome to Movie Reviews and More. And with that, we got Neuro Coach, my good friend Carol Register from Florida. We got one of the world's leading interior to 35 interior designers in the world, Howard Wiggins. So I'm in his state. I don't even know if he knew I was here because I've been hiding out, but I'm here. But the fun thing about this is you never know what's going to happen with anything. So since it's been raining the last 6 days, hopefully I won't have any Howard's technology problems with anything because we just never know, right, Howard? We never know. So, Carol, let's start off with you. Tell everybody what's going on with you, what's been happening with you, because I know you've been doing a lot of things, and I haven't talked to my friend in about 4 or 5 days.
I know, this is so strange. I'm so glad, though, that you have been hiding out and been enjoying yourself. It's time for that. So I'm totally standing behind you with that. I'm Carol Register. I take women from 6 to 7 figures. I close the gap. It is 100% guaranteed. I am a neuroscience-based coach, and I created something called the Neuro Wealth Method using a neuroscience-based process along with universal wealth laws that are just like the laws of physics. We go deep into identity work. And today, Brian, was our opening of the program. I do still have spots left. If you are interested, please DM me right away because we had our orientation today and it was incredible. The women who have enrolled this year are people you want to be in community with. My goodness. The beautiful Heather Mariana, shout out to her, was there today, as well as Stephanie Seek, both having been on the show. And I also co-host, as you know, the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast with my partner, Alex Leanne Carter, who is also certified in neuroscience with me. And we talk about all the neuroscience of leadership, health, and wealth. We've been doing that for 3 years. We're award-winning. We're over 160 episodes. We publish weekly. So I'd love to invite you to subscribe and fill your plate with the amazing tools that are out there available to you right now. And I'm excited to talk about Marcy today. Super excited to know more about this incredible Vengeance series. I saw all of these multiple awards that you've won, and I am excited to hear about you starting self-publishing to transitioning to where you are now. That was amazing and super interesting.
And then we got Howard Wiggins from Brentwood, Tennessee. So Howard, what's been happening with you? I haven't even called anybody because, like I said, I've been hiding out. I never get a chance to rest because when I go back to Los Angeles for the next 6 days, I have 3 events in 3 different parts of Los Angeles again, and I'm exhausted already. And we're getting ready to go into the 7th month of the year. The year is going by really, really quickly. What say you, Howard? What's been happening? Uh-oh. Is Howard frozen? He can't be.
I can see him moving.
Hey, Howard, can you hear us? Uh-oh. He's got problems, I think.
Aww.
Hey, Howard, we're going to come back to you. Let's go to Marcy. Howard, come back. Go ahead, Marcy.
Hey, I'm Marcy B. Thank you guys for having me here today. I appreciate it. Do you just want me to tell you about my books or what?
Oh, yes. Let's talk about what's going on with you.
Well, in 2024, that was a really big year for me. All 4 books of the Vengeance series were published by Words Matter Publishing. As Carol said, I did start in self-publishing. My first 2 books I did myself. And let me tell you, some people are cut out for that. I am not. It was a true blessing when my publisher we kind of found each other, I guess. And, you know, I don't think it happens very often that somebody takes such a chance on you and takes on a 4-book series, and 2 of the books have already come out. But I can tell you that the 2 books that Words Matter Publishing published for me are far better books. I don't have a knack for publishing. I don't have a knack for all that other stuff. I can write the books, but I need the professional people to put their backing behind it. And they really did back me. And I'm just so thankful for that. The books are all, like I said, they all came out in 2024. And I'm just getting ready to put out my first standalone novel. July 5th is the release date. It's Where No One Will Look. And I am so excited about that because I think my books, Brian said about how every woman, they look like the romance books that every woman is appealed to. But I really feel like, and I know you're supposed to have a target audience, and I get what my target audience is. It's women. But I started this campaign really a few months ago that I think my books are, they're enough mystery, they're enough plot oriented, they have enough male strong characters that they would appeal to men as well. It's not just romance. Okay. So I started this little campaign and I'm hoping that I get some male readers, some interest for a broader audience, but it's called Men Who Read Romance Do It Better.
Ooh.
I'm thinking that I have shirts, and I'm thinking I'm gonna maybe send one to Brian. I don't know.
Oh, I love them.
Would you?
I'll wear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk later. But I feel like the romance. My books are not so strongly romance, rom-com. They're not the. I do like a happy ending. I will tell you that. I do like a fulfilling ending for your characters that you've invested a lot of time in. But but there's a lot of twists and turns and plot changes, and I really do feel like they would appeal to men, and the men who have read them say, yeah, I can do this, I can do this. So yeah.
Oh, well, I can tell you our guys here are so supportive of empowering women. They are the guys who love women. So that's
those are great
exciting
guys.
to know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can honestly say too that I do gravitate toward a very strong female protagonist, and what I like my female protagonists to do is to start either very ordinary, and come into their own power, and not power that's generated by a male romance partner, but power that is maybe lifted by that relationship or an awakening through that relationship, but the female character does it more on her own, and I like for my male characters, my male lovers, to be supportive of that and not be threatened and not be challenged by that. So I have a really I guess strong it's an inclination, and I've noticed that in all the books that I'm writing, I kind of have that theme. I want an ordinary woman who comes into her own power, maybe with the help of a male character, but he's not doing it for her. She's coming into her own on her own.
Oh, I love that, Brian.
I like that. Hold on for a minute. I got a question to ask you, but let me see if we have Howard. Howard, do we have you? We have sound with you, Howard? Not yet. Okay. I text him. I let him know. And Terri just bumped up. So Terry's from California. Terri, introduce yourself real quick because Howard's coming back in. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. This is Terri Marie. I'm here in Southern California. Sorry I was a little late. I couldn't find the link. I was running around trying to find it. So nice to meet everybody. I've been with Brian since 2014. It's been that long, 11 years. I do a lot of the red carpet hosting with celebrities. I'm also a fitness junkie. I started competing at the age of 47, won Muscle Beach. I've been Miss Bikini LA Masters. I've won NPC, which is the amateur fitness for masters over 40. So I like to dabble in art. I've been acting off and on my whole life. Brian calls, I nickname myself Nonstop because it's always something. So there you go. Nice to meet everybody.
And Marcy, if you remember, you met Terri on the red carpet at Heaven's event.
Yes.
I met so many people, but I do recognize your face.
Yeah, good to see you again.
And then Howard, do we have sound with you, Howard? Did he freeze again?
Looks like it.
He did. He just got back on. So Marcy, I was going to say, on your books, the way I perceive them, and I haven't read it yet, and I have the feeling once a woman's read any of your novels, she immediately was looking for the next guy to attack him. Because it's one of those things where once you've read your books, you're like, okay, I'm ready to get down and have some fun. Where's my husband? Where's my boyfriend? That's how I see this. I could be wrong, but that's how I see it.
Well, the first book, and it was the first book I ever wrote. I was a little hesitant, timid on the romance. But I think that was a good thing because I wanted my iconic lovers, Mac and Aria, I wanted them to be grounded in something other than just physical relationship. I wanted them to have a connection. And I feel like that first book did that. But I'm going to give you a true story here. And my publisher's probably going to kill me. I know she's watching. Hi, Tammy. So when we got ready to do Seduction and Revenge, she said to me, she goes, your first one was kind of a slow burn and it got there. But, she goes, you need to have Mac and Aria, and I'm just going to say it, doing it in the first chapter. We need this. And she cut the first 3 chapters off my book. She said, read it without the first 3 chapters and see what you think. I'm telling you, when people start reading that second book, they're like, whoa, okay, we're in it. We're in it now. And I didn't need those first 3 chapters at all. I mean, when I tell you that publishers know what they're doing, they really know what they're doing.
So I was kind of right then, wasn't I?
Yes, you were absolutely right. And another funny story is that my publisher will sometimes proof my books while they're taken, like while she's on the road and her husband drives with her. And she said, she'll text me and say, well, she goes, we may be a little late getting where we're going because I'm proofreading a Marcy B book and we might have to stop along the way. And I'm like, sorry.
That's awesome.
No, that's a good thing. That means you're into it. And that's how I see it. That's how I perceive it. And I would have never have known going back to 08, probably even 03, 06, that we would have been talking to so many authors around the world, award-winning authors, self-published and published. And I think that's great. And I think most of them are women, matter of fact, too, which is actually pretty good. But I did interview James Patterson and all those fantasy novelists where we had a luncheon for Lifetime or Hallmark. And I said, when do you get all of these great worldwide authors together? And I found it fascinating, and I never forgot that. And ever since then, I started paying attention to all of them because their books were just selling like hotcakes. And back in the day, you would see every woman going up there at the register and buying these books. I thought that was great. And Howard, do we have sound with you?
I hear you now.
Okay,
Yay.
good. All right.
Yay.
Yes. All right. So do this because we never know if we're going to lose you or not. Tell everybody what you're doing, what room you are, and I've never seen that painting over your shoulder. That's an interesting one.
That's a Bun Gray painting. It's it was his dog, Russian Wolfhound that he had. I'm in the upstairs hallway, which I'll probably be on most shows since I'm moving. I've got the downstairs with storage of other stuff I bought for the new house. But Howard Wiggins, one of the top 35 leading interior designers, son of Little Roy Wiggins, plays steel guitar for Eddie Arnold. Let's see, I'm actor, dancer, podcast host, of course. And you can watch me on Passion TV on a thing called My Father Forced Me to Marry a Billionaire, and I play the billionaire. I'm in The Haunted Farmhouse, which is on TV. I forgot what channel, but that's what I do. So follow me on Facebook. That's all I ask.
And Terri, you may be interested in writing a book eventually. Marcy, what advice do you give to those authors, soon-to-be authors who haven't written yet, whether it's going to be self-published or going through a publisher? Because there's more books out there, and there's more people doing it both ways.
I've done it.
Yeah. And okay, so this was a lifelong passion for me. I was a teacher for 36 years, taught English, and I taught writing anywhere from 7th grade to college writing. And I didn't really sit down to write my own book until after I retired, but it came out like a flood, and it had been sitting there, it had just been sitting there. And I will tell you this, that if writing is your passion, writing the book will be the easy part. If you're a writer and you love to write, writing the book will be the easy part. The hard part is getting it under people's eyes, because you can write the best book in the world. But if nobody knows about it, if nobody reads it, if it doesn't get marketed, then it sits there, and it's the best book in the world that nobody ever read. And my other advice, that goes along with that, my other advice is this: don't be in a rush, because you can't sell books without visibility. And you have to get out there. You have to go to Oscars week. You have to meet Brian Sebastian. You have to do all these things. You have to get in the right track to get where you want to be, and that's what it's all about. And for me, I don't be disillusioned and think that I'm going to write a book, it's going to sell a bunch of copies, and I'm going to be rich, and it's going to only take me a couple of months, because I really don't know anybody who's ever done that. Maybe there is, but didn't happen to me. And I have a feeling that if my books are going to take off to the capacity that I really want them to take off, it's going to take even, a couple more years. You just have to put yourself out there, and don't be afraid, and don't give up, and don't put yourself down because you have bad days. Just keep pushing.
So we got 3 questions from the studio. Should people start out self-publishing first? And does self-publishing pay off in your point of view right now?
My point of view?
Yeah.
I think self-publishing works for a lot of people. It works for the people who know technology, They know the right people to contact for things that they don't know how to do. They get the right people to do the things they don't know how to do. But for me, it didn't work. I after I sold to my family and my friends, I was dead in the water. And like I said, could be the best book in the world. It didn't go anywhere. So self-publishing, I think if you are gung-ho and you are willing to put your foot to the floor and do it 24/7, 365, as long as you have to, self-publishing is maybe a way to start. But everyone's different. Everyone is different. I am so in love with having a publisher, but I would never go back.
Hey, Brian, I have a question too. Marcy, you also mentioned, giving this fantastic advice here based on your experience. You also mentioned that you were considering coaching, mindset coaching particularly. Is that still the case?
Well, I got involved with Women Thrive. I did the Women Thrive stage for 2025, and I did my big speech, and I met a bunch of fabulous women. I put myself out there, and see, I was a school counselor as well as an English teacher for many years, and I have a lot of mantras that my life is patterned off of, and so I feel like yes, that I am in a good capacity to be a mindset coach. I believe things like, invest in yourself because you are your own best asset, right? If you put a lot of time and money and energy into financial investments, why wouldn't you also do that for yourself? Like you are your own best asset, and so I believe that 100%. And I live by a saying that from my father all my life, and it is, you are who you think you are. And I have always thought that I'm an author. I'm a winner. I'm going to make it someday. And when my publisher asked me, when she sat across from me and she said, I'm going to take this 4-book deal, but I want to know what you want. And I said, I want it all. And she said, that's what I need right there. I want it all. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to get there, but I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. So,
hey, Howard, let me ask you this. You're in one of the world's leading interior 35 interior designer books. What say you on the book that you're in? Because we talk about the book that you're in every week because it's important.
Well, I'm in many books actually that I'm mentioning and a ton of magazines, but I did write my own book called Costly Mistakes That Everybody Makes. And what I learned when I did my own book, the old expression, they judge you by the cover, because when you do send it to a publisher, they're not really going to sit there and read that whole book. They're going to look at that cover and see who the audience is and if it will sell. I should have spent more time on the cover than I did the book. I was doing all my philosophies that I've learned through the years on how to do interior design that nobody knows but me. I can take a sofa, a pair of chairs, and one chair and arrange it in 188 different ways.
Wow.
But it's all mathematical and I can do that. But I love my book. I mean, my book, I plan to leave it to one of my heirs and then maybe they can take it to the next level. But I need a photographer. I need a beautiful picture. I need pictures of my client's work, which is hard to do because you got to get permission and it costs a lot of money to get professional photographs done. So it takes out of my profit if I do that. So it's a hard decision to make. I mean, I think for self-growth, it was the best thing I did. And I also went through a ghostwriter, helped me write the book because I'm an interior designer. So I talk the interior design language, but I wanted to appeal to the common person. Well, they don't speak my language. So I had 2 ladies that didn't know anything about interior design. I said, you understand what I'm trying to say? And when they understood it, then it went into the book, but without using professional terms. So
wow,
that's what I learned.
I think ghostwriters are amazing, right? They're super helpful with what they do.
It took 2 years. It took a lifetime to come up with the rules that I invented, but it took 2 years to actually go through them the book done. Then we went chapter at a time and just rewrote till we got it right. So.
And Marcy, I'm going through a publisher too, and I'm using a ghostwriter because I'm not that writer. I admire you women, you guys that can do that, because I cannot do that. That's not my forte. So that's why I like to have those. And I think it's important to go to it because everybody's different, as Howard would say. He has a language that he speaks, and he may not be able to convey it by writing it, but each week he's talking about being in that book and his art and what he's doing. And I think that's great. There was another couple questions. Where can we get your books, first of all, Marcy? Mm-hmm. And are they available on audio tape?
I'll talk about audio in just one second. But my books are everywhere books would be. Online, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Walmart.com. They're on my website, marcyb.net. So, they're readily available. About audio, because everyone asks me about audio. And let me tell you that my standard answer has now become, when you see one of my books as an audiobook, you'll know I made it, because it is so expensive to do it right. Because you pay by the finished hour. All right. And Deception and Consequences is a 364-page book. Wow. And it was estimated that it would take, I think, like 9 finished hours to get it on tape and perfect it. Well, when you're paying $200 to $300 an hour for a series of 4, the math, it adds up pretty quickly. So yes, when you see the Vengeance series on audio, Marcy B's up. Marcy has it all. Like I said, I want it all. I have it all when it comes out on audio.
I look at the title of your new book, Where No One Will Look, and immediately, I don't think romance, I think suspense, right?
Oh, it is.
That title. So
I'm going to turn for just a second and grab it. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So is there romance in it?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Marcy, let's see that book again.
So,
the book again.
Okay. So Dalton City, Illinois is a real city. That is a real picture of the elevator, the grain elevator and the water tower that I took myself, that my publishers.
Hold on. Let me see that book again. Turn it around. Let me make sure that's correctly. Put it around the other way. I think it's backwards. No, I guess not.
It's mirror imaging.
Yeah.
Okay. Mirror imaging. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So, but Where No One Will Look is basically, Dalton City is a town of 500 people. All right. 500 people. It has a super huge grain elevator that services the whole central Illinois pretty much. And it has a pub and a restaurant. But the pub is where things start, because there are 2 people, a man and a woman, who are hiding out from their past, and they meet there. And then they go on this incredible journey, and they realize that their lives and their pasts, their trouble that they're escaping from, are so intertwined that it becomes this big thing. And they think that Dalton City will be a place where no one will look, but they find each other. And they work together to get out of their mess, I guess.
Okay, that sounds amazing. First thing I think when I see the grain elevators, with the book title, I'm like, ah.
Well, so this is another one that it gets spicy. Page 2. All right. So if you're one of those people that has to read and be like completely enthralled and caught in the first couple of pages, that's what I try to do.
Hey, Marcy, talk about being at Heather's event. And Terri, do you remember talking to Marcy? Because they meet a lot of people, and we interview a lot of people, and we don't always know, because everything starts to mix after a while.
It was such a surprise to me to get invited and to go, and I'll be honest that these things don't happen I consider myself a small town girl with a big dream, and when this opportunity came around, I almost passed on it because I passed on the Emmy event and I didn't feel like I was ready. And then, honestly, I have a community of people who have now become my fan base and my sponsors. They are sponsors. I had businesses that I collaborate with who helped fund me, who dressed me in their boutique fashions that that couple of days. And so it was a real community effort. And I'm so grateful for that. And those people have backed me from the beginning. So when I went to LA, it was a eye-opening. I'd never been to LA, and I had, it was beyond anything I could have imagined. And I met so many people. So it was, and the connections that I made there are still connecting for me. And it's wonderful. Very wonderful.
So we got some people who are scared to go to Los Angeles, AKA Rebel. So Marcy, once you jumped off the plane, what was your feeling until you got to the hotel? Because you don't know when you're going into a strange city what to expect. You don't know when you get there. You don't even know who's going to interview, if anybody interviews you, Terri,
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was by myself. So I flew in by myself, but I did meet Monique Stinson from LA Talk Radio, maybe. I don't know. I met her at the hotel, and we had a little sit down and things like that. But the other thing that really helped me was, I have a high school friend who lives in LA, and he has a business there. He owns Brown Hot Events, Jeffrey Brown. And he said, hey, when you get to your hotel, you message me and I'll come pick you up. And he had reservations at Funky's, and we went and we ate dinner at Funky's. And so Jeffrey just kind of eased me into LA a little bit. He was still from the small town I grew up in, but he'd been in LA 26 years, so he knew everything. And he kind of drove me around. And from that very first night, I felt safe and happy, and like everything was going to go okay. But I feel like a lot of that had to do with a familiar face with Jeffrey being there. So
hey Terri, that red carpet interview you did with Test Man, it's 209,000 views and counting since May 15th.
That's crazy.
It continues. I mean, I looked at the number like, holy crap, that's a lot. Because I didn't expect that, because I hadn't looked at numbers in like 5 days. And I was like, wow, good for Terri and good for that. And it was done, at Jonathan Baker's Oscar gifting suite. So congratulations on that, because I don't look at them every day like I used to, nor do I want to. But when I do look at them, I'm pleasantly surprised and happy, because Tess was only on, a couple of weeks ago. And I think it was at 109 at that point, something like that.
We can always grab good footage on the red carpet. You never know what you're going to get, but it's always exciting.
Well, and you never know who you're going to interview, because what I don't like, and I think it's a disservice to everyone, if you're walking that red carpet, and Howard knows this in Tennessee, I understand people whipping out their cell phones doing it, but there should be those big cameras. Getty should be there so people get those images. They deserve to have that. I think it's disservice. I understand why they don't have them, because it costs money now for Getty to come out. But when they do come out, if you can get that photo and your photo goes to Getty and Wire Images, that is massive. It's really, really important. And Carol knows from having Amy Graves on, when you have that, when you can have that our own, I should say, from Easy Way, that helps a great deal, because those photos go up in Google and the search engine a long way, which is really, really important. And Marcy, for you being on, probably, maybe was that your first red carpet you were on also?
Oh yeah.
What was your feeling like that for you?
I'm sorry, what?
What was the feeling like for you?
Oh, I was starstruck a little bit, because there were people you know, that I recognized and that I knew that, you know, the shows and things they were in. And I felt like I was walking around with this dumb look on my face the whole time, you know, but I was trying to be one of the people on the red carpet, but I was so enamored by all the other people. It was a very surreal feeling. And one of the ones that I was just like blubbering was when Patrika Darbo started walking toward me, and I'm like, you know, I mean, I had this look on my face, you know, and it ended up, we just clicked. I mean, she is fantastic, and she ended up being, she wrote a celebrity endorsement for me, and it ended up going
Wow,
on
that's
a
really
press
cool.
wire, and so yeah, she's fantastic. And Brian, I will say this, that I was so impressed with you because you just came up to me and you had your camera and you're like, you know, going across my table, and the first thing you said to me was, "You look like someone I need to know," and it made me feel so
That's a try.
like I belonged there. Even if I didn't feel like I belonged there, it made me feel like I did, and so I thank you for that. That was so grounding for me. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad I said that to you because I was kidding. Now I'm only kidding. No, I
And
meant
when
it because there was a presentation of what you had, and that's really really important. You know.
yeah,
Y-
so that helped. Thank you so much.
Hey, so there's another studio question. Do you have to read the books in series in order? And I always wanted to know that too.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And another thing that I have to tell people is, because I have a lot of people who think if they read book 1 and 2 that I self-published, well, then I can just skip to book 3 in the publisher version. Absolutely not, because when my series was published, we had to change a few things because no publisher wants to do the exact same book, you know. So
Yeah.
we had to change a few things, and so I keep saying, no, it wasn't a ploy for me to get you to buy more books, but you're not going to understand book 3 if you skip. You know, so yes, you have to do 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that order.
Hey, Howard, followed by Terry and then Carol. Do you remember the first time you were on the red carpet? What that was like for you?
Oh my God. Actually, I had a similar, really went, my book, first Christmas book was in, I went to Vegas and promoted it. And I took the plane ride all the way out there to the market. And I'm sitting there with the other people that are in the book, and everybody just walking by. And I said, I am not sitting here flying all the way from Nashville and nobody stopping to look at my book. So that's when I went out and started dancing with the women. When I started dancing with the women, they all gathered around. They got books, they got signatures. I made it happen. You know, I wasn't going to just sit there and say, "Oh, I've done all this," and just let it go by. I took it by the horns and just made it happen. But
You
when I
have
did
to,
that,
Howard.
it brought out that entertainer in me, and I thought, my God, I do like doing this. And even after the event was over and I was going to other shows, I just walk up and I say, "You want to dance with me?" And they would. So I just made more and more videos through market, and that just became the thing that I did, you know. So now I'm known for it, so I like it. But you've got to set yourself apart and do it what makes you feel comfortable and makes you stand out in the crowd. As Brian says, every day people comment on the way I dress. You don't know what I'm going to wear. I spend a lot of money on clothes, but it pays off because when I'm working, people know you're a designer. I can put an outfit, I can put your house together. Same principles. Look like what you're doing. The thing I want to say, I got the world's top 35 interior design. I made the same mistake Marcy did. They asked me to.
And I think we lost him.
Scared, and I didn't do it. Biggest mistake I ever made, because if I had gone, I would have met Jane Churchill, which is Churchill's granddaughter. I would have met the designer that did George Harris of the Beatles' house. I would have met all these other things and telling where my life would have been. You don't know who you're going to meet. It's the same thing I tell all my single lady friends. Prince Charming is not going to come knock on your door and ask to marry you. Oh, shoot.
And that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's incredible to, to look at what the possibilities are about who you're going to meet.
Terri, do you remember the first time you walked the red carpet? Not interviews, walked it.
The first time I walked the red carpet?
Yeah, do you remember?
I was probably like 6 years old. First time I walked a red carpet. I mean, are you talking, well, for a movie premiere or for me walking as to be interviewed? I mean, for a movie premiere, probably was like six years old at Disney, because my dad would get invited to a lot of premieres at Disney Studios. So, yeah, so I've been walking the red carpet my whole life since I was a little kid.
Yeah, but do you remember what the feeling was for you, what you got out of it?
No, I just remember, I don't know. I mean, my mom always said that she gave birth to me. I was always jumping around and I was always excited. So I was always excited about everything. That's my honest answer.
I mean, it's wired in, Terri.
Yeah.
It's, it's totally wired into your neural networks. It's your comfort zone in essence.
I always wanted to be an entertainer. I mean, when I was little, like I would like perform little plays, for my parents, and I was always acting out stuff. I mean, like my dad was an artist, before he worked at Disney, that he ran the printing department. So I come from a background of creative people, and it's just in my genes. And I mean, I just like to make people smile. I've gone through like kind of a dark period in my life, but that energy is coming back. But yeah, ever since so my excitement on the red carpet was like, hey, hi, I'm here. Since a little kid, So
it was energizing. Brian, so for me, it's interesting because I've had 2 of my 3 daughters have modeled very successfully. My youngest even walking in Paris Fashion Week for the designer George Caburia. And so, it's funny being their mom. I felt really awkward, like I didn't have their presence, their ability. Like they make it look so easy, right? So the first time that I was on the red carpet, it wasn't easy. They make it look so natural. And then I had somebody recently who kind of gave me some instructions on, different ways that you can pose that are flattering. Rather, like angles that the camera likes, as opposed to things that, maybe don't look as good. And then also just bringing my authentic self to the table, letting it be what it is, and being good with that, being confident with that, is a huge part of the process. And so, yeah, that's what it's been like. And especially the first time out was pretty interesting, I'll say.
So 2 more questions for you, Marcy. When are they going to be in a box set? And how would you compare them to a novella series if you had to?
Yeah. Okay, so about the box set, I can send them out as a set. I don't have a box to put them in, but I can send them out as a set from marcyb.net. So that is my website store, and but they won't come in a box, but I'll put some cute little paper or something around them, and we'll pretend it's a box. And then you said something about a novella. How would you compare your novella to the series? Oh, okay. So my novella, my novella was published in the back of one of the editions of one of the series books. But it's also a free download off of my website, marcyb.net. So if you sign up for my newsletter, which doesn't spam you, it's 1 email a month, and you get a free download of The Wanted, The Desired, The Craved. It is a darker psychological thriller with a lot less romance. So I would say that's a little different than the series. The series has more relationship, love, intimacy.
I like that. I like how you said that.
Yeah,
And so for Carol, on Fridays, Carol, tell her what you have on Fridays when it comes to book clubs.
So on Fridays, I have the Worthy Book Club. There's between 60 and 70 members, and we go through books and really just lean in and have great discussions. The purpose of the book club is for a gathering of female leaders where we take a stand for pouring into ourselves, like filling up our cups, putting our oxygen masks on first. Because one of the things that I have found is that there's a lot of mindset work with distraction. And this is a free gift. It's a give. And there's some amazing, powerful, incredible women in this group. And it's turned into something I didn't expect and that I absolutely love. So
That's awesome.
I want to ask you too, I saw a question in the chat. How do you get with the publisher? What does that process look like? Yeah.
I think the traditional route is you query and you try to find a literary agent, or you try to find a publisher who, that you usually have to send off 3 to 6 chapters of your book and pitch it to them in a query letter, and it takes anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks to hear back from them. I think that's the usual. All right, after you figure out which publishers are actually taking your genre. So in my case, my story is a little different because I stumbled. I honestly feel like everything happens for a reason, and this happened for my reason. Okay. And this is a true story that I couldn't make up if I tried. But I'm sitting at my stylist who she's processing my hair, and she was a student of mine at one point, and she says, Marcy, she goes, I didn't think about this before. She said, and this was when I was still self-publishing. She said, I have this other client that comes in here every now and then when she's in town, and she gets her hair done and she's looking for a romance writer. I was like, Camille, why would you not tell me that before now? And so before the end of my hair's in the foil and all, and before my hair looked good and I left, she had the woman, Tammy Corwin, on text saying, hey, I've got this romance writer sitting here. And so I was sending chapters, and about 4 days later, I met her at a restaurant downtown Decatur, Illinois, and we talked for the first time. And then I met with her again about a week later, and I signed my 4-book deal.
Wow.
So my situation was completely unique, but as I said, it happened for my reason. It was part of my journey, and it was like I get teary-eyed thinking about it, but it was the best part of my journey, because I would still be floundering out there. She saw something in me, and that I didn't even see in myself, and I was gung-ho. I was, and she saw something in me that fired me up, and yeah. So here I am. Pumping out books.
Hey, we got a couple minutes left. Terri, give your social media links to everybody.
It's Terri Marie nonstop on pretty much all the platforms, and then my website's terrymarieofficial.com.
And do you still want to write a book in the future?
That's down the road. Down the road.
That's the future.
Yeah.
Hey, information, right? Marcy, you didn't always know, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, anything can happen. Anything.
Right. Hey, Howard, you did you always know you were going to be in a book?
No, but I did face. If I knew what I was doing, no telling what would happen. But I do a lot of stuff that I don't know what I'm doing, and it happens. So, I mean, actually, I post on Facebook constantly, and the producer saw my pictures. I mean, the Patricia Hart Macmillan Christmas book that I've been in 3 of her books for 3 different years. Since last year was one of them. She contacted me through Facebook, and that's how that happened. And she tempted me with Christopher Racco, which does all the Christmas ornaments. And let's see, who else was it? I forgot the other big designer that I knew already in it. And I thought, well, if they're in it, I'm going to be in it. So And I did. But it's like Marcy said, Marcy, go to wherever you need to go, because you had that chance meeting with the lady that made your publisher. Like I was trying to say earlier before I got cut off, you don't know who you meet and who they know. And it's all connections, no matter what. Like you said, you can have the best talent in the world, but if you don't connect to the right person, it's sitting in the water. And it's not going to happen sitting at home.
No. Howard,
That's
social
all.
media links for everybody again.
Howard Wiggins, Facebook, plain and simple. And of course, movies, reviews, and more, and Instagram.
Carol.
That's it.
I love that, like the exact right timing. And thank you for what you shared, Howard. Super powerful you don't know who knows who, right? And it's
Correct.
something that,
Absolutely.
Just is a great reminder. And so be willing to meet everybody. Okay. Instagram, I'm at NeuroCoach Carol, just like neuroscience, NeuroCoach Carol. And I'm at successuniquelyyours.com. That's my website. And the podcast that you can subscribe to is Unleashed and Unstoppable. We're on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. So I would love to invite you to subscribe. If you're interested in closing the gap from 6 to 7 figures, it is our time as women in the world to do this. Please contact me right away. The program won't be able to handle anybody else coming in very shortly. So there's a limited window here. I'd love to have you.
Marcia, you get the last word. Social media links.
Hey, it's my last name is kind of hard to spell, but it's Marcy Bialeschki. For Instagram and social media, just Marcy Bialeschki. That's it.
And where can they get your books?
Okay, marcyb.net is my website. You can get them there, or you can go on barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, or walmart.com.
All right, everybody. Thank you for today's show. And it's great information on self-publishing and publishing and change of habit and just running into someone that you would never run into. See what happens when you get your hair washed? You never know. And as I would always say, have a good night tonight, a better day tomorrow. You see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours, because the world needs it. The world truly needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week.
Bye.